Welcome and welcome back. Today, we will be going over the if function. Now, what is the if function? The if function runs a logical test and returns one value for a true result and another value for a false result. Also, more than one condition can be tested by nesting if functions. In addition, the if function can be combined with logical functions like and or to extend the logical test. So of course we have a data set up of the company budget year to date. Now, we know right away that we went over budget, but we want to know which department went over budget. So just imagine if this was a large data set with, let's say, I don't know, thousands of lines. So we're going to do an if-then statement to find out which department went over budget. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a title right here. We're going to go over budget / under budget. Now this is where we're going to put our if statement. So in order to find our if function, there are two ways of going about it. We can go to formulas, insert function, and you can find your if statement here. Or if it's not there, you can type it in and you can find it that way. Another way is you can just go right here to the toolbar and it'll get you to the same place. Now, here we have our first argument, which is the logical test. The logical test is an expression that should return either a true or a false. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if accountant's actual is greater than its budget, then we're going to say true. How about we do over budget? And if it's false, we're going to do under budget. So let's go over the arguments one more time. The logical test is an expression that should either return a true or false. The second argument, value if true, is the value to return when the logical test is true. Value of false is the last argument and is the value to return when the logical test is false. Both value is true and value is false are optional, but at least one of them must be provided. So we're going to hit OK. And we can just double click right here at the end to drag this down. And now we have our answer. As we can see, the accounting department was over budget. Finance was over budget. Marketing was under budget. Forecasting was under budget. Projects and human resources was over budget. So what are nested if statements? The if function can be nested. And a nested if function refers to a formula where at least one if function is nested inside another in order to test for more conditions and return more possible results. Each if statement needs to be carefully nested inside one another so the logic is correct. So in order to do this exercise, I'm going to take off this table. I'm going to remove the table and I'm going to bring it back to arrange. That's so we can see the formulas better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a title here called difference. And we're just going to take the difference between the actual and the budgeted numbers. So now we're going to do a nested if function. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find our if function. And we're going to say, if the difference here is less than or equal to 100,000, if the value is true, we're going to say good. Actually, we're going to give it an A. And if the value is false, we're going to say not good. We're going to hit OK. We're going to drag that down. So this is okay, but we want to get a little bit more specific with the if function. So we're going to do a nested. We're going to put another if function into this function. So what we're going to do is we're going to step into this argument. We're going to press F2. And we are going to get rid of this false argument here. We're not going to need this anymore. So we're going to say if F4 is equal to or less than $100,000, you get an A, comma. Now our next argument is going to be if, open parentheses, F4 is less than or equal to $200,000, you get a B. And we're going to do one more argument. If F4 is less than or equal to 300,000, then you get a C. And now we're going to close this argument, and we're going to need 3 parentheses because we have 3 arguments. And we're going to hit enter. We're going to drag that down. Ooh, and we're going to see we have a false right here because this one, the projects department, didn't fall between any of those ranges from 100,000 to 300,000. So as you can see from our formula, here we have 3 arguments. Now, there's something called logical operators. Now, the if function supports logical operators. It basically gives you a true or false answer without having to go through the true or false function. So here's one real quick. Let's just say F4. Let's just say we do equal F4 is greater than 50,000. And it gives you a true. Now we can drag this down and it'll give us the results for all the other departments as well. Here's another one. F4 equals F4 equals 100,000, false. And we can also do equals F4 greater than or equal to 200,000. So here's another one. We can do one to find red. We can do equals F4 equals red. Of course, it's false, but let's say we put red into F4. Now it becomes true. So these are some quick logical operators that the if function supports. So if you don't want to go through the if function dialog box or typing it out, you can just use some of these logical operators that the if function supports. And it basically so thank you once again for being with us. I hope you learned something today about if statements and nesting and these logical operators. And like I said, always say, never get comfortable. And until next time.